According to Ipsos polling conducted exclusively for Global News, 1/4 of Canadians say they feel unsafe taking public transit alone. While many Canadians have not changed their behavior, 3 in 10 say they are more alert and aware of their surroundings, and 2 in 10 have avoided traveling at night. Meanwhile, 14% say they now avoid using transit entirely, and 13% have started transiting less.
Yeah, in general, people do feel safe riding transit. I mean, there's a quarter of the population that doesn't really feel safe, regardless of where you go. But what we're seeing in the data is that this really seems to be a Toronto issue, and particularly a downtown Toronto issue in the 416 area, where people have been seeing a lot of reporting about various incidents on the public transit system, and it spooked them. Well, when we asked people if they are changing their behavior, nearly half of the people that we interviewed said they were, especially women. So not going on transit by themselves, not going on transit at night, and looking for alternative methods of getting around, particularly not traveling on their own. So really, this is something where people are actually taking it into their hands to change their behavior. Is it going to be a lasting thing? Hard to say, but for a city that's trying to get people to come back downtown, and particularly people who would be using transit, this has to be worrying. It's a fairly consistent finding over time, though, when Canadians talk about violence. What they see in the news, what they read online, the more lurid a situation is, tends to get most of the attention, which would lead people to think, to a certain extent, that these things are actually increasing. So it's really what they're experiencing, not necessarily in their personal lives, but what they're experiencing through the media, for the most part. The thing about what's happening in Toronto is people can really see themselves in the position of victim, especially people who live in the 416 and people who use transit. Yeah, people do believe that these aren't isolated incidents. They're part of something generally that's happening in Canada. And as I mentioned before, it really is something that they see, whether it's what they choose to stream on Netflix or what they choose to watch on the news. Things that relate to crime tend to get pretty good coverage. So as a result, people feel there's a lot going on out there. The transit one really stands out as one in which people are feeling that it's close to them, which is what is creating the problem. People want to see action, which is probably why the City of Toronto started putting more police officers on our transit system and started to beef up the visibility of security. Now, some people are bothered by that, but a lot of people think that that's what's necessary in order to assure their personal safety. I'm certain that if we went out and we drilled down and we talked to people about the need for a stronger police presence and the need to visually show that there's help if you need it, that a lot of people would agree with that.